We don't want you here anymore. Leave, you lazy person who works from home, my sister said angrily, and even my parents agreed. Leave. I'm tired of a family that doesn't appreciate me and my dog. If they're going to act like that, then I'll do what I want. That's when I decided to get back at them. My name's Kathy, and I'm 33 years old and single. I designed websites as a freelancer, which means I can work from home using just my laptop. I have a spot in my house where I work, and I set my own schedule. Even though I had a good job, my parents started to interfere with my work about 2 years ago. One day, while I was working at home, my parents came over to visit. As soon as they walked in, they glanced around the room and began talking. Mom, this house is really spacious. It feels like we could live here too. You're right. There's even a spare room. Plus, it seems like a waste for Kathy to live in such a big house alone. Yeah, let's do it. We'll move in this weekend. My parents didn't even acknowledge me and made all the decisions without consulting me. I made it clear that I didn't want to live with them and said, "Hold on. I don't want to live with you guys." "What are you talking about?" My father's face turned red with anger, and he shouted, "You took control of this house, claiming it from your uncle, trying to make it yours. You've hit a new low. Take over? I simply had a conversation with uncle, and he gave it to me. Don't try to justify yourself. In any case, our old house is crumbling. Your mother and I are moving in here this weekend." In reality, this house was a gift to me from my father's brother, my uncle, who always spoiled me. The ownership is still under my uncle's name, but he gave me permission to use it however I want. According to my father, our family home has deteriorated significantly, and it requires extensive renovations if we want to keep living there. My mother doesn't work, and my father's income isn't very high, so renovating the house isn't feasible for us. That's why they targeted the house I inherited from my uncle. I wasn't happy about it, but my parents had made up their minds to sell their own house and said they had nowhere else to go. I couldn't leave them stranded, so I reluctantly agreed to live with them. But as soon as they moved in, my parents started making sarcastic remarks. "Hey Kathy, you're in your 30s already, right? Don't you think about settling down and getting married? I'm content with my job at the moment. If you keep saying things like that, you'll just push any potential suitors away. Why don't you take a cue from your sister?" Well, my sister's marriage isn't exactly perfect, is it? But for now, I'm okay with how things are. At that point, my mother, who had been listening, chimed in. "Hey, don't speak ill of your sister like that. Unlike you, she's married and has a job at a company you know. I may not be married, but I'm doing just fine with my work too. You're always glued to your computer. Are you earning money through some sketchy methods?" Sketchy methods? I earn my living through honest work. There's no need to be concerned. How dare you talk back to your mother? You're nothing like your sister. That's how it went. My parents kept comparing me to my sister. Yes, she has a job at a company, but she's only a temporary worker in an office position. I don't mean to belittle temp jobs, but I certainly make more money than she does. I understand that my parents' generation may not fully understand the idea of working from home, but it was still painful to constantly feel underestimated. Then, one day, while I was preparing dinner instead of my usually idle parents, the doorbell rang unexpectedly. To my surprise, it was my sister Sandy carrying a lot of luggage. "Huh? Sandy, what's happening?" "It's been a while. Kathy, this might seem sudden, but I'll be staying in this house from now on." I was taken aback and blurted out, "Huh? What a big house. If Uncle was giving it to someone, it should have been me." "Wait, hold on. You're moving and starting today?" I had no idea about this. "Didn't Mom and Dad tell you? I got divorced, you know." "Divorced. So I'll be relying on you from now on." Ignoring my surprise, Sandy went upstairs and claimed an empty room for herself. Despite my attempts to resist, my parents sided with Sandy, and I felt powerless to stop it. From that point on, my stress only grew. After her divorce, Sandy had quit her job and spent her days gossiping about me with our mother. "Hey Mom, you think this dress is cute?" "Oh, absolutely, Sandy. You look so pretty. It suits you perfectly." "Do you agree? It's definitely not something Kathy would wear, right?" "Well, Kathy is more on the simple side. That's probably why she's having trouble finding a job. She just stays home and plays online." "Mom, you can't just say things like that." As I was cooking dinner, they purposely made sure I could hear their conversation. I was itching to respond, but I knew that would just play into their hands. So no matter what they said, I kept living without reacting. Then, one day, a friend of mine had a litter of 4 puppies and I decided to adopt one of them. I named him Muffin. He's a small black chihuahua with the most adorable round eyes. Whenever he looks at me, he wags his tail so hard it seems like it might fall off. Having a chihuahua has been a dream of mine since I was young. Working from home can get lonely, so I thought Muffin could provide some much-needed company. From now on, your name is Muffin? Okay. Woof. I didn't really consult with my family when I decided to adopt Muffin. After all, this is my house, and I'm the one who will be taking care of all the expenses for him. So I don't see why they should have any complaints. When I brought Muffin home, as expected, my parents and Sandy started complaining. Hey, we didn't know you were getting a dog. That's right, dogs can be smelly, you know. I can't stand bad smells. Kathy, how could you just bring a dog home without talking to us first? We didn't agree to this. As they kept complaining, I firmly told them, firstly, I didn't just pick him up off the street. A friend gave him to me. Plus, I'm the one who's going to take care of all the expenses for Muffin, so there shouldn't be any problem. What I choose to have in my house is my business. If you have any complaints, you're welcome to leave. At first, they complained loudly, their faces red with anger. But within a few hours, they were completely won over by Muffin's cuteness and began showering him with affection. Aren't you just adorable? Are you mommy's boy or daddy's? Or maybe sis, look this way, sweetheart. Wait a minute, what happened to their anger from just a moment ago? Was it all just a dream? My entire family became completely enamored with Muffin. From then on, they were always doting on him. Because of this, their animosity toward me decreased, and I could enjoy relatively peaceful days. Then, one day, an incident shattered this calmness. While I was out running an errand, I got a call from my sister Sandy. Hello, come back home immediately. In response to my sister's sudden outburst, I asked what was wrong. She vented her frustration, yelling at me, "It's not what happened. Muffin made a mess on my clothes. What if they smell? Oh, just wash them quickly and they'll be fine. Besides, isn't it your fault for leaving your clothes on the floor?" What? It's my fault? It's your lack of training, Muffin, that's to blame. Enough. Muffin is still a puppy, you know. If you take him out for a walk, he won't make a mess at home. You said you were excited to walk Muffin today. Did you actually take him? Well, I was planning to take him later, and it's all because you didn't train him properly. Then you should compensate me for the clothes. As expected, when I arrived home, my sister was furious. Both my parents had been alerted, and they stood beside Sandy, glaring at me. Sandy tossed the dirty clothes at me and started yelling again. I'm going to make you pay for the cleaning, got it? Why should I? It's your fault for not taking him for a walk and leaving your clothes on the floor. Shut up. Stop arguing back. This only happened because you brought this stupid dog home. What are you going to do about it? Calling him a stupid dog? You were fond of him before. Isn't it harsh to label him that just because he had a small accident? It's your fault for not training him properly. Take responsibility. Why can't my family think beyond their own convenience? While I was appalled by my selfish sister, my parents interjected. Hey Kathy, shouldn't you at least apologize to Sandy first? That's correct. All of this chaos is because of that Muffin you brought home. Can both of you just stop already? Puppies are like babies. Can't you forgive them for making mistakes once in a while? Pathetic. This mess is all because of this dumb dog. Kathy, you made the right choice by not getting married. If you were a mother, I doubt you'd raise a decent child. What? How could you say that? If you took him for walks properly and kept the house tidy, none of this would have happened. Finally, my sister raised her eyebrow and pointed at me, saying, I've had enough. I don't want you or this stupid dog here. Get out of this house. What? Didn't you hear what I said? I said, leave. We don't want a freeloader who works from home here. A freeloader who works from home? How can someone who's currently unemployed say such a thing? And who do they think is covering the household expenses? It's me. As I stood stunned by my sister's absurd remark, even my parents joined in. That's right, Kathy. Leave this house. Your presence only brings us bad luck. You're a jinx. All 3 of them kept insisting that I leave. In that moment, my anger boiled over. That's enough. I've had it. If this is how it's going to be, just wait and see. Fueled by a desire for revenge, I packed my belongings and left the house with Muffin. My sister's words only added to the tension. This is all because of you. If you had just done what I said, none of this would have happened. They still didn't grasp the severity of their situation, even though consequences awaited them. But I didn't care. Let them deal with it on their own. Hiding my smirk, I left the house with Muffin. As expected, a few days later, my sister called in a panic. "Kathy, please help. Something's wrong with the house." "What's going on with the house all of a sudden? We were given until the end of this month to leave." So what's the issue?" "What do you mean, what's the issue? Why are we being told to leave?" "Well, I've made the decision to sell the house." "What?" At my words, Sandy seemed to freeze, her voice trembling. She barely managed to speak. "What? What does that mean? You've decided to sell it. You don't have the authority." "Well, actually, I do. You see, that house became mine a month ago." "What?" "Yes, I officially inherited the house from my uncle. And yes, the title is in my name." It's no wonder Sandy was shocked. I hadn't mentioned this to anyone. You're joking, right? Even if Uncle transferred the title to you, you can't just sell it like that." I was concerned too, but right after you told me to leave, I spoke with Uncle. He confirmed that the house is now yours, Kathy. He said, "Do whatever you want. You should get away from that awful family as soon as you can." "What? That can't be." Whether they had been listening to my conversation with Sandy on speakerphone or not, my parents began to protest. "Kathy, stop this nonsense. We have nowhere else to go if we leave this house." "That's correct. It's unthinkable to treat your own family like this. If you're a good daughter, show some respect to your parents." "Respect?" I questioned them quietly. "What are you talking about? You've always favored Sandy over me. Who do you think has been supporting your lives for the past few years? You all had nowhere to go, so I reluctantly let you move in with me." With an unusually firm tone, my parents were left speechless. Without waiting for a response, I continued. "Who treated me and Muffin like burdens and kicked us out? It was all of you, wasn't it? Trying to find happiness by forcing out the original resident is shameless. You people belong in hell." At my outburst, my father pleaded, "Please help us. We're sorry." "I don't care. Figure it out on your own, you fools." With that, I hung up the phone with a loud click. Then, I blocked every family member's contacts. Seeing me raise my voice, Muffin looked up at me with a worried bark. "I'm sorry, Muffin, for shouting. It's okay now. I'll protect you. I'm really glad I could rescue you from that family that treated you so poorly." Later on, it seems my parents and sister were forced to leave the house at the last minute despite their desperate attempts to cling to it. With my father's meager income and my unemployed mother and sister, it's unlikely they can lead a decent life. Rumor has it that my sister is constantly being pressured by my parents to find a job. Their family dynamics seem to be deteriorating by the day. Although I have no interest in how they're doing, it's clear that their living situation has worsened since I left. It's a classic case of getting what they deserve. They brought it upon themselves. Meanwhile, I'm enjoying my days filled with joy with my beloved dog in a new pet-friendly apartment. I can work whenever I please, and there's no one to complain about it anymore. I can use my earnings solely for myself and my dog. I'm incredibly content with my life now. Muffin, let's head to the dog park today. Woof. Muffin seems more lively. Maybe it's because that noisy family is gone. From now on, I want to protect Muffin for the rest of our lives and lead a peaceful existence.